Hello Lorcana and TCG enthusiasts, and welcome back to yet another Lorcana deck profile, where today we are looking at 𝐿𝐿, Sapphire, Ruby, Ariel OTK. I will leave a link down in the description below so you can check out his original video. Highly recommend that you give him some love. Without him, I definitely couldn't bring you all these deck profiles that I have on my channel. I need some inspiration, and he is a great inspiration to sometimes see what's kind of running around the meta and to help me show you some deck profiles, of course, and also have you check out yet another Lorcana enthusiast. So without further ado, let's do the card by card. So Ariel OTK is not anything new. We did see it in Chapter 1. I don't know the secondary color. I believe it might have been Steel had been in secondary color, but the majority of it, I believe, was Sapphire. Now, I think Amber might have been in secondary color as well, but I am not 100% sure. I didn't play Ariel OTK in Chapter 1. But Ariel OTK has had some changes here. It is now using Ruby. It now has a much better Sapphire package. Ariel just quickly gaining you lore right out of the middle of nowhere, and your opponent just gets to sit there and watch you win. So let's do the card by card. We're running for Mother Gothel. We are running the Popsicle engine, so even though we do take the 3 damage on our body, we do have the ability to use Popsicle to gain back that 3, at least 2 of that damage. If I remember Popsicle, we are running it, so we can see it later. But anyways, it's just here to be a 2-cost body to hit into things. We are running 𝐂𝐍𝐉𝐎𝐾, also to be a 2-cost body to hit into things. We are running 3 of the Ariel. We draw so much in this deck. This deck is such a good draw engine. Again, Sapphire has such an amazing draw engine under it that typically we're going to mulligan this Ariel away, as 𝐿𝐿 has said to do, and then we're just going to draw into it. Again, about mid-game is where we kind of want to start bringing out our Ariels, not the early game. Mid to late is really when we want to be bringing out Ariel. And we have Farum at Flabbershim. Again, we want to play him down so he can banish our Popsicle and allow us to draw all 2 cards. We have Nick Wild to cycle back Popsicles 4 and 4. We're running for Maui, again, being that we are Ruby. It's a good control card. We're running 3 of Lady Tremaine. Again, another just very strong control card. We're running Maurice. Whenever this character quests, you can pay 2 less for the next item you play, but more importantly, whenever you play an item, you may draw a card. We are item-heavy deck, so we're just going to draw a lot. We got 1 Scar. Of course, he has Rush, and then Daddy isn't here to save you. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in the challenge, you may raid this character. He can't quest for that turn, but if we need to deal with some board presence in the late game, Scar, Lady Tremaine, and Maui are there, though Maui's about the late mid-game to early late game. And then we have Tomata. This is mainly here so we can gain lots of lore, because for every item on the board, he gains a lore. He also can cycle back an item as well, so we can cycle 1. Mainly, he's here to deal with our Steel matchups, because Steel has a very nice, easy way to deal with Ariel, because she is a 3-3 body, but not so well to deal with a 5-8 body. So he's here to gain us lots of lore and to do all that. Now, it's interesting, when I did my review of Sapphire, I said Nothing to Hide doesn't seem like a very good card. I would look at it as a side deck. Here, it is actually very important in this deck. It's very important to understand what's in your opponent's hand so you can play Ariel. If we are playing a Ruby deck or a Steel deck or any deck that really can control our board, like even Sapphire has the ability to ramp up into Hades, we don't want to play down our Ariel, have to wait a full turn for her to dry and then be able to use her. We want to be able to look in our opponent's hand and say, okay, that's what you got. I can play Ariel safe this turn. Yes, it does matter kind of what they draw for that turn, but again, knowing what's already in their hand so we can play Ariel safely is very, very important. So, here I was knocking this card in my Sapphire review for Rise of the Floodborn, and here it is in a deck as a 4 of. Well, we'll just see how well it is, but I do give credit. I think it is a really good idea, because actually hearing about the fact of being able to look at your opponent's hand to see what big bombs they have, like wipes and like anything like that to deal with your board presence, it's kind of important because it does give you hand knowledge of what they might be able to do. So I think this card could see a little more play now with that ideology coming into it. It's a little interesting, but again, a little bit of an ideology is very interesting. Anyways, we have 4 Let It Go. It's just the best song around. I mean, it literally puts something in our opponent's inkwell face down exerted. Yeah, it's annoying, but again, it's not bad. And then we have Be Prepared, the best board wipe around, kids. Anyways, for the items, because if you don't know the Ariel, whenever you play an item, you ready this character. That's not a once per turn or anything like that. It's whenever you play an item, she just gets ready. So you quest, play an item, ready her, quest. And it's not like the other ones where it says can't quest for the rest of the turn. No, she can just quest as much as she wants. That's just what makes Ariel OTK so strong. We don't usually have these OTK strategies. There aren't a lot of them running around. But anyways, we have 2, Shield of Virtue. We can pay 3 to restand the character. They can't quest for that turn, so mainly, most of the time, this is just here to like target Maui, so Maui can swing again. Or even target Scar, so Scar can swing again. For the Popsicle, anyways, you can banish it to remove 2 damage from the character. This is on Mother Gothel. Typically, our first round turns, any first round turn of Sapphire decks that want to play Popsicle is you play Popsicle to draw a card. And then about turn 4, you want to put down Farum Flabbership so that you can destroy it to draw 2, or if you need to, you can use it on Mother Gothel to heal her too. We are running Fishbone Quill. By turn 3, we run Fishbone Quill. This basically, in essence, just ramps us. This ramps us all the way up to where Be Prepared is up faster than our opponent, depending on what our opponent's playing. Especially if our opponent's playing Sapphire or Ruby, they're going to be a little slower of a deck. If we're playing Sapphire, Ruby, Amethyst, I mean, in the last sentence, Sapphire always going to ramp. Steel decks, we can push past them. Most decks will be able to push past them and automatically have threatening our Be Prepareds, threatening our Mauis, threatening our Tomotawa, threatening Lady Tremaine. Maurice is going to come out faster. Scar is going to come out faster because we're not using traditional ramp cards. There's no Mickey Mouses here. There's no grandmas. There's nothing of traditional ramp. We have Dinner Bell. You can tap it, pay 2 to draw cards equal to the damage on a chosen character of yours that's banished. Mainly if we need to banish Maui. He can go all the way up to 4 damage. If we need to, if Maurice needs to be knocked out, if Scar needs to be knocked out, if Tamatoa needs to be knocked out, because that can get us all the way almost to 7 cards for us. So in essence, again, we are trying to draw everything we need to see. We need to see items so Ariel can go off. And then we have the One Sword of Truth. You can banish the badge and chosen characters. This is mainly to deal with your Sapphire matchups like Lady Tremaine, like Maleficent. This is anything that's running villain, which is majority is Ruby. And then we have the Eye of Fate. This just speeds up the game because this automatic will come down. You tap it, you give Ariel an extra lore, or you give Tamateo an extra lore, especially because if you give it to Ariel and you're just constantly playing items, then you're constantly being able to restand her and questing for 2 to 3 a turn. Again, the aspect is that what we want to do is we don't want to set too many items on the board. Again, we want to be able to hold all these items in our hand to run into the Ariel, so that way Ariel comes down, we go item, quest, item, quest, item, quest, item, quest. So that way we're constantly just gaining all this lore. Now, early game, we don't have a lot of early game synergy. It's mainly just playing out Mother Gothel and Cruella de Vil. It isn't until we start hitting mid-game we can get a couple of other characters being Harem Flaversham, Nick Wilde, and then by late game we can get a lot of more heavy hitters in questing from Lady Tremaine, Maurice, Scar, and Tomotawa. But that is the deck. Overall, Ariel OTK is Ariel OTK. I've never played it. I played against it. I've seen this deck actually work. It's very interesting, very fun. I don't think it's highly competitive because, again, it's so reliant on you getting either the Ariel or the Tomotawa, but I think it's very, very strong because if your opponent doesn't have response to you or doesn't know how to stop quest before you get your Ariel line going, then you're pretty much going to win because they just get to sit there and watch you quest and quest and quest and quest. And again, because we have the ability to ramp up, we're basically threatening that Lady Tremaine, we're threatening Scar, we are threatening Be Prepared, we're threatening Let It Go. We are still playing control packaging. That way we can constantly make sure we're dealing with our opponent's board states. Do be mindful to play your Be Prepareds, not the same turn you play Ariel. So, in essence, we're just here to be able to OTK with Ariel or Tamatoa, or just play control until we can get to that point where we can OTK. But let me know down in the comments your thoughts on this deck. Did you play Ariel OTK from the first chapter? Your thoughts altogether on Ariel OTK. Do you think this deck is actually viable in the current meta? Let me know all of that down in the comments. And while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel,
and ring the bell so you get notified when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you here next time on Mama Dragon's TCG.